Well, good morning, folks. It is a beautiful day that the Lord has blessed us with. Got a little frost on the pumpkin this morning. Shows us that the weather is cooling off when we have frost up here on the hill. This is the first day this fall that we've had frost. Anyway, who was it that sung that song about frost on the pumpkin? I've seen like a country singer had a song about that. Cal Smith, maybe. Memory's not that great. A long time since I heard it. Anyway, I'm going to show you what we've accomplished here on our greenhouse project. You can see that we've got the two long walls up, braced pretty well. You've seen the end wall that we had up in the previous video, but I wanted to show you this here. And we left this end open so that when we get so that it'll make it easy to carry the trusses in, and then we can build this last wall and just stand it right up in place, and it'll just slide right into place right here, nail in against these corner posts, and then we'll lay our double top plate across here, ties it all together, and then set the last truss in place. I'll have that ready. You can see my little build-out strips here. Still lack one here and on this corner right here. Another thing that I have to make, I haven't done that yet, is a railing, or for lack of a better term, deadwood. That it'll be a 2x4. You can see this line right here. It'll go across here, and it'll span every one of the stud cavities. It'll go all the way around the perimeter, all the way around over there. And what that does, that gives me a solid nailing surface for the T111 on the outside that comes up to here. And so that's what the build-out strip is for. That allows the polycarbonate to come down over. There'll be an aluminum extrusion, they call it, piece of trim across the bottom here. And that will allow the polycarbonate to come down over and lap over the T111 just slightly, so that will prevent water from coming in behind the T111. So anyway, as you can see, that's what we've accomplished there. So the next step is to build our trusses. So that's where I'm at. I've got to lay off or make a table. Make a table up here on the carport to build these trusses on, and that might sound complicated, but trusses are extremely similar, or simple to build, and I'll show you how simple that is as we go along. Oh, hi. Yeah. Hi. This is Felina. Anyway, I'll fire up the leaf blower and blow all the leaves and sawdust out of the way here, and we'll build a table here to start laying off our trusses, and I'll show you that as we go along. So until next time, Felina and I say have a good day. Well, we're back, and the sun is out very nicely, and the animals and I are enjoying our sunbeam, as the frost is gone now from the pumpkin. It was here just a little bit ago. Michael Zane Trusty could probably tell us who was the singer of that song if it wasn't Cal Smith, in case my memory's slipping me. But he could tell us that. Anyway, we're back. I've got my table built, as I said, that I was going to lay out to build the trusses on. It's just 2 sheets of plywood. It's AC plywood, the blonde radiata plywood. It's really good quality plywood, actually, and it's the same plywood that I use in a lot of my projects. It's what I used when I built my tool trailer, as you can see there. And shout out to Ron Polk for a brilliant design of the cabinetry in that trailer. I made 2 or 3 little modifications to it. One of the main ones was here on the end where this big garage area was. I made a sliding bin that you can see there with the two handholds in it, because I got tired of crawling back in there on my knees to get something in behind. And it's on that, I forget the name, it's HDPE or something like that, some kind of plastic that is it's commonly used like on table saw fences and for glides, anyway, drawer glides. Anyway, that helped that. But anyway, the plywood here, lay this out. I don't think I told you the dimensions of my greenhouse, but the dimensions are 16 by 24. And so you probably already see the convenience of the 16-foot dimension on the width. Because guess what 2 sheets of plywood end to end make? 16 feet. Right. So our truss will be, now again, the finished outside measurement is 16 feet. So the truss will be shorter for the polycarbonate, because the polycarbonate will actually come up, right here where you can see this, it will actually come up on the end of the truss, which I'm going to have a nose board on here that the polycarbonate will come up, notch up under. But the polycarbonate is a 10 millimeter, and which is 5/16. So 5/16 off each end, 5/16 times 2 is 5/8. So that leaves us 5/8 of an inch shy of 16 feet. So that's our dimension, and that's why you see the mark here, there, I have a matching mark on the other end. And so I'm beginning to lay this off. And as I said, building a truss is not complicated. It's rather simple. You take, okay, there'll be a 2x4 laying here, where these 2 blue lines are. This is called the bottom chord. And then what I'm drawing here in pencil, this will be the rafter or the top chord. Okay? And so you take, now just get a little bit of terminology here. The width of the building, whatever the building is you're building, the width, that's the span. The full length is the span. Half of that is the run, which comes to here. Okay? So you take, in building a truss, you take the span, you divide the bottom chord by 3. And that's why we got the mark here. And conveniently, we have an automatic center line of our truss here because of the 8-foot plywood. So I started here and measured each way to get my dimension. But you divide the bottom chord by 3, and so the dimension 191 3/8, I believe it was, divided by 3 came to 5 feet 3 and 25/32. So we're going with 5 foot 3 3/4 for simplicity. But anyway, here's you divide the bottom chord equally in 3 sections. And this is going to be the W truss. That's not the technical name. It's Fink or something like that. It's a different name. But anyway, it's just the standard W pattern truss. So you divide the bottom chord by 3. You divide the rafter portion by 2. So I've not done that yet. But wherever that will fall, then you come down to this mark here. The bottom chord's divided by thirds. Then you go back from here to the peak right up here, and we'll see that as we develop this a little bit further. But I want to show you a little trick here. Everybody knows about a chalk line, which obviously that's what these blue lines are. That's how you get a nice long straight line. But here's another little trick that you can do. Back up a little bit. Is you can lay 2 levels together, pinch them together, and then draw along this line here. I remember where I put my pencil. Oh yeah, so here it is, right here. Okay, and you just make that mark. Then you come back, put these back together, and we'll walk around to the other side. And see, right here was an R. Now here's another thing. You have to measure, and lay off the 2x4, 3.5 inch, you have to measure across this way. You can't measure this way because the angle is a longer measurement. And you can see right there how much difference there is, there to there. But anyway, you measure square across here to get your 3.5 inch width. Okay, that's just pretty basic. But then you come over here, and then we will continue our mark. Okay, and there we have it. And we'll do the same thing for the other side, and then we can lay off the webbing in, like I showed you, in here for it'll form a W. And when you get to a lot wider spans, then they'll add a web, and they'll divide the bottom cord by, say, 5 or 4, but they'll put more webbing in there depending on the width. But I think up to maybe a 24-foot span, the W works fine for just, standard load. So anyway, just wanted to show you a little trick there, and we'll be back as we continue on laying this out. We're back out here at our table where we're building trusses, and I wanted to show you what we've accomplished today. So you've seen where I had the table built. So I'll turn this into a jig, and I'll show you where, well, this is the bottom cord, as I mentioned earlier. This was a 2x4 16-foot long, so it is less 5/16 on each end. So it makes a 191 3/8. And that's from when I put the gussets on here, and this will trim off right there and line up with the wall and sit on the wall there. So I've worked today to do all this. I've got all my gussets cut, like these right here. So this will go here. These will glue and staple in place. The staples primarily hold until the glue dries. They would probably hold with just the staples, but you know me, I go overboard. But anyway, I'll glue and staple and use a waterproof glue, because I know it will get rained on at least once before I get the polycarbonate on the top. Over here, this stack, these will go here. And you can see these gussets here. But I wanted to show you that if you take your time and do things right, notice the joinery. Notice how everything fits perfectly. This joint here, and this piece, and this piece, they mirror down here. They're identical, and notice how they fit. Notice how they fit. And that's what I say, if you take your time and do things right, then this is the kind of fit you will get. But anyway, as I said, this is not anything really that complicated. It's just basic geometry. It's a triangle. It's two triangles put together, and you come over the run and go up. Well, this is a triangle. It's actually a right triangle, and when you put these together, then again, it's basic geometry. And I don't think I told you that I was using a 4/12 pitch, which means for every foot of run, the rise of the rafter goes up 4 inches. So 12 inches this way, 4 inches this way, 24 inches this way, then 8 inches this way. So 4 inches per foot. That was my basic thing that I started out with, and it worked perfectly. 10-foot 2x4. Again, when the gusset goes on here, these will cut off square. But a lot of people will look at a triangle and especially if they're trying to calculate the square footage for siding or brick. And people will panic. Oh, how do you calculate a triangle? They comprehend how to calculate a rectangle, length times width, right? That's simple. Well, a triangle is just as simple. If you're calculating one triangle, it's 1/2 base times height. Okay? But if you're figuring a gable, then all you have to do is, again, run times rise. That gives you the square footage. Somebody will say, oh, wait, no, that's a triangle. It doesn't work that way. Well, look what we do. See that? Length times width. A triangle is a rectangle cut in half. So when you're calculating a gable, run times rise gives you the square footage. It's very simple. Again, basic geometry. But anyway, this is where we're at today. I didn't get as far as I wanted to. I wanted to get all of my pieces cut, but that's just not going to happen today. This many hours on concrete does a number on my back and knees, so I'm going to take it easy for the rest of the evening, and we're going to work on this some more, maybe tomorrow afternoon, and then hopefully I'll have a little bit of help coming on Monday to help to assemble these trusses, and we'll get back with you then and show you what they look like when we put one together. All right, y'all have a good evening.